How easy or difficult would it be for somebody to remove crash barriers?
I cannot tell, Ms. Frames. But then, if you look at how busy the area is, you can only imagine that such an activity will only happen at night, because they stole about 10 of these crash barriers. Its length in total is like 40 meters. And for someone to have done this, removed all of these, it must have been done under the cover of darkness. But are there street lights here, for example? Yes, there are. Are there homes here? Yes, there are. Is it possible anyone could have seen those who did this? Maybe late in the night? No. But with the presence of security, that could have been averted. So I am unable to tell just how possible it was for anyone to do this. Engineer Kwabena Bempong is here. I'll be asking him. But if you ask me, I think if you have an evil intent, you must have studied the place very well and planned your execution and delivery and done it so well to get us all shocked in this way.
Caleb, I also think that a certain amount of bravado really is all you need in a country like ours, where people know that impunity is the order of the day, right? All you need is a bit of bravado, because nobody's actually going to stop you and ask you, what are you doing? So if you have the guts to just say, you know what, let's go, let's attempt it, wear crash helmets, wear reflective vests, and go stand out there and start unscrewing the things and removing them. Trust me, in this country, people don't ask questions. I think that when I'm looking at this, because the story we have on Citi Newsroom suggests that, and of course, Engineer Bempong can corroborate that for us, but it suggests that people were actually stealing broad daylight.
Yeah.
Just by sheer
That is true, Kweku, and I have... Kweku, if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, please go on.
Great. I have with me Engineer Kwabena Bempong. He is the consultant for the project. Just to find out from him, were you shocked to learn of this development? It's 40 meters, 10 crash barriers, $3,500. How easy could it have been for anyone to do this?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. Well, I would say yes and no. Yes, because I thought that this particular crash barrier was barely 7 meters away from the residents, and nobody could intervene when these crash barriers were being unbolted and loaded into a truck. You know, yesterday I heard on radio that one guy was given, his account that, he saw them in reflected vests, and I was just asking myself, what did you say? What did you confront them to find out whether they were working for our contractor? And even if they were working for the contractor, why would they come and take something that they had, placed installed? Is it that they are owed any monies or what? This is mind-boggling. Well, no, because this is an ongoing occurrence on other roads, especially the highways. They go take these ones out and use them probably for scrap.
Wow. These are fresh and brand new.
Exactly so. They will go and cut them into pieces. Because even when we were working, there were some people who were taking our reinforcement. And I'm sure the contractor will corroborate that. In tons, and they cut them into pieces. And these are huge, bars, 32 millimeter, 40 millimeter bars. They cut them into pieces, and they had covered them. And you see, they are very... well, I wouldn't say professional. They are thieves. They come and strategically locate very close to where we were working, and then maybe in the dead of the night they will just take the material, cut them, and then store them very close to it, and then they cover them with tarpaulin.
Have you been able to put a value on how much you have lost since the beginning of the project till now? Because our understanding is this was probably the first, besides the pounding of fufu down there. Yeah. But now we are learning from you that all along there's been pilfering and stealing.
Yes. I don't know the exact cost because the contractor, but then I would maybe just a wild guess about 5% of the total cost of of the works would have been stolen. Wow. Yes.
Caleb,
That's some shocking revelation there, Kweku David and Framer. We are learning from the engineer that all along from the beginning of the project, some stealing have been ongoing, and he will, estimate about 5% of the cost of the project all going into wrong hands.
Yeah, so
very
Caleb,
huge.
The question I have for engineer is that what would he recommend, understanding the nature of the work that they've done, what would he recommend as the best security measure to prevent stealing?
Very well. So, engineer, what would be your recommendations to forestall such incidences?
Well, thank you very much. The first thing is that, we are doing what I think is not the ultimate, by welding the bolts and nuts. Right. And as I have said elsewhere,
that means you have replaced what was stolen.
We have replaced what was stolen. Because
at what cost, really?
Well, the same cost, because the contractor has to be reimbursed. Normally we would leave some of these for certain emergencies and also when they are crashed. Even this morning, I was coming along, just in front of us, somebody had run into one of the crash barriers. They have to be replaced, okay, because it's a safety barrier. Right. So if you don't replace them, then it means that right from the beginning, we do not believe in what we were doing. Right. That's why we will go ahead and replace them. Right. Okay, so I was talking about welding. Replacement and then welding. Now, you realize that once you weld, if an accident occurs, how are you going to replace them? It means that you have to take out all the concrete just to be able to replace. And that is not ideal. These things have been bolted to ensure ease of replacement.
But because they could be unbolted easily, now you are welding.
We are welding. But then I believe that the more plausible way to solve this is by being vigilant. Vigilant on the part of pedestrians, vigilant on the part of motorists, vigilant on residents, vigilant on the part of the police, or generally the law enforcement agency. If you see anybody attempting to do something that looks unreal, not real, but unwieldy to you, funny to you,
you report them.
Right. Caleb, let me find out from engineer. Engineer is talking about citizens being vigilant and all, but for a layman, how would I know this is a possible thief? How do I differentiate between
reflector jacket?
They are wearing reflector jacket vests, they are in helmets. How do I tell the difference?
That's right. Engineer, earlier you spoke about the fact that the eyewitness account said that those who were actually stealing this came in reflector vests.
Yes.
So if I live here and I see someone in a reflector vest and they are doing something as though they are doing regular maintenance, how do I tell a thief from someone who is maintaining works done?
Well, that is why I said that if it's common sense. Sorry to say that, but then if you see somebody removing something that has been installed, it's not as if there has been an accident or there's been any damage to that part of the bridge. Why would such a person be if, let's say, you saw somebody removing this street light, unbolting everything, you should be able to question. Just question. It doesn't mean you are going to fight the person. Right. Question and find out the reason for doing that and the authority upon which he's doing it. And we have they have the police around. You have the opinion leaders around and all. Just call them. Honorable Guard, for instance, has been with us, who is the assembly member, has been with us right from day one. So at least he has an understanding of what happens.
Right.
Talk to somebody. Don't just allow them to.
So people must be vigilant.
Exactly so.
I want to talk about a bit of safety, also because you talk about police presence. Yeah. We've seen that very often when we have new interchanges like this, of course, it's a highway, so the speed levels increase and all of that. And earlier you told us there's been a crash somewhere ahead and you need to replace something. What other measures are you putting in place to ensure that we reduce the risk factors of road crashes on the Pokuase Highway? Because if you remember, when the N1 was done, we used to record a whole lot of crashes around La Paz, Awoshi, and those other places.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. And this is something I've also talked about, that we have 4 E's. The engineering has been done. The next is enforcement, because if you have a straight road, okay, the only way, technically you can travel at infinite speed, but there is a law that regulates the speed on highways or on urban arterials. For instance, this way you see the posted speed limit is 50 kilometers per hour. on the Accra-Kumasi road, it is posted as 80 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
It does not mean that you cannot travel at 150 kilometers per hour or 200 kilometers per hour. But then the other E is the enforcement. Right. Somebody should be enforcing, either using speed cameras or using personnel on the road to ensure that speeds are limited. Because a lot of the crashes that we're experiencing are due to, human error or driver error. Apart from, some technical or mechanical issues, they're also due to driver error, overspeeding. Because look, what I just mentioned to you, yesterday I was there, and the driver was, a truck, and because he was descending the hill, he was just driving probably at 80 to 100 kilometers per hour.
And Ms. Rema, to add, we saw one shocking scene this morning. So this is a one-way going this way, but there was a car that was driving the opposite way.
How?
And that was very strange.
Was it an ambulance? Was it a police vehicle?
No. It's a private vehicle, not a state security ambulance, none of that. It was just a regular saloon vehicle. It was driving against oncoming vehicles.
But Caleb, let me find out from you, how was the traffic situation this morning? Because I know the interchange is supposed to help ease traffic there. How was it?
Deal with traffic. Yes, so for where we've been so far, we've not observed so much traffic. The parts that we often hear of traffic complaints is coming from Pokuase towards Accra. Engineer, you are the consultant for this project, so you can tell us about the traffic situation, whether or not there's been any improvements or any bottlenecks so far. What has been the situation around traffic so far?
Well, there has been an overall improvement. However, as you rightly mentioned, during the peak hours, you have traffic on the Accra-bound section of the highway, and it is due to the incomplete nature of the project because, at the beginning, about 3 years ago, the section from Ofankor to Jonte, which dovetails into our project, and then from Pokuase to Nsawam was given on contract. So the understanding was that by the time we would have completed our interchange, those roads would have been done. I know the designs have been completed, but I believe that they are facing a few challenges. So that is what is causing. But then the other challenge is also with the drivers, the commercial, trotro and taxi drivers. We provided laybys for them, but and then 2-lane, traffic to ensure that they can safely park, allow passengers to alight and get onto their vehicles. But unfortunately, they tend to block all the lanes. They have to, and you see, my argument is that, look, just take one lane, apart from the lay-by that we've given to you. Take one lane and leave just one lane.
But they take two.
They take both.
So
they virtually block the traffic.
Caleb, what he's talking about seems to really be an issue of enforcement that needs to be done and done in a very hard way.
Enforcement and education, Kweku.
Yes. So the last question I have for you is that the interchange at the time of commissioning wasn't fully completed. Where are we now in terms of the completion?
I'm sorry, Kweku, can you take that again?
I was asking a question that at the time of commissioning of this project, it wasn't fully completed, the interchange. So from the engineer, can you ask him, where are we now as far as the completion is concerned? Is it done 100%? Are they taking their hands off it? Is it done?
Okay. Very well, I get that now. Engineer, so for this project, are we 100% done in terms of completion, or are there a few more things that need to be done?
Well, we are 100% complete, but then as and when we find the need to do additional works, we do them, because we have 1 year maintenance period, and this is what we call the defects notification period. So if we find any defects or anything that would enhance the roads usage, then we'll go ahead and do it. So for instance, on the pedestrian footbridges, we want to put on granite or let's say marble tiles, to enhance the experience of using the interchange. So this is something that we have asked the contractor. We've given a go-ahead for the contractor to do. Then also we constructed a terminal, a bus terminal under the bridge for them. We need to do some road line markings. We'll do them, and then all those taxi and trotro and also the water tanker drivers can go, under there to operate.
And Caleb, quickly before we go, the sighting of the high tensions close to residences, how convenient or dangerous are these?
Well, there are concerns about safety as far as the sighting of these high tensions and homes are concerned. You are the consultant for the project and may not have direct responsibility over the sighting over these pylons, but we know that the threats they pose to people. So what will be your word to city authorities as far as these are concerned? Ideally, should there be a buffer or anything? Your views?
Well, we had a lot of discussion and negotiation for the siting of these because, along this corridor, there wasn't so much space. And this is the power or the lines evacuating power from the Pokuase bulk power supply that was constructed as part of the MC, there's a Millennium Challenge account. Right. Yes, so there was, but then the whole idea is that it should be as far as possible from the roadway so that in case an errant vehicle, hits it, it does not cause, any catastrophe.
So right now that is here, is it a Nyamibetre situation?
Well, I guess so.
All right, Caleb, thank you very much.
So very much, that's your response.
Right, Nyamibetre, indeed.
Thank you very much, Caleb. We'll speak to you later. Now, that's our colleague.